Welcome to the Unclehack Podcast, where dudes pretty much just talk dude shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the worst hour you're gonna endure this week. You're gonna endure this week. Welcome to the Unclehack Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We about to make them pussy soaked. We about to make them pussy soaked. Unlike Ben Shapiro, right? You know what a wet pussy feels like. That's right, folks. Welcome to the Unclehack Podcast, one of the greatest shows ever to leave Tabor, Alberta. It is a damn shame that I'm not there still. I know the local residents are probably thinking to themselves, how do we convince him to get back here? What do we got to open up, a comedy mothership just like Joe Rogan down in Austin? Is that what we got to do to get this guy back? And I'm like, listen, folks, I got to spread the good word. I'm like the Mormon of the town. I got to go out and let everybody know how great this land is. That's my job. That's what I'm up to. Anyways, what else am I up to? Oh, all sorts of, shit. Upcoming stand-up comedy dates, folks. October 22nd, late show, Fort St. John, and a little after party at the strip club there at the North Pole. That's right. After two shows in Fort St. John, late show tickets are only available 10 p.m. We are heading over to the North Pole, so head on over for a drink and a dance. October 29th in Calgary, late show added, early show sold out. November 12th, Edmonton, Alberta. And then the fellas go on a nice little jaunt down to Austin, Texas, November 18th, November 22nd, Round Rock, Texas, December 3rd, Plano, Texas, February 9th and 10th, Thunder Bay, February 16th and 17th, Niagara Falls, and just added, we're going to the far East Coast Bay. February 22nd in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and February 23rd and 24th in St. John's, New Brunswick. I don't know, is it St. John's? St. John's? Who gives a shit? We're going. Tickets available, dangercatshop.com. Another great weekend. Let's address it. Let's talk about it. Let's get it all out in the open. War. That's coming up next. But first, the boys out there, in the field, busting their. I had a gentleman come up to me this weekend. He's a listener of the pods, and I just want to say thank you for the kind words that were said to me. That a lot of gentlemen out there enjoy it. They tune in every week to have a little giggle at the expense of a rambling moron. We cover all the issues. Maybe you don't want to go sifting through the news. And I've heard it a few times, like, just talk about funny shit, you cocksucker. And I get it, This is the stuff that entertains me, I'm trying to get back into sport. And first off, I just want to say thank you to that gentleman. And thank you to the listeners out there. I know fucking a lot of the boys that listen to this, not entirely in a field of work that you thought in your head as a young child that this is where I'm destined to go. It became a grim reality in high school. I was there. I'm watching my friends. They're all like and peers, I guess, in my classroom. They're loading up on the smart classes. There were smart classes and dumb classes. That's how I classified it, and that's how I knew I wasn't going to be, sewing up any children anytime soon. I wasn't going to be a pediatrician. I wouldn't be looking at your eyesight and be like, fuck, bud, a little shaky in the right eye. I wasn't going to be that guy. I wasn't going to post-secondary with a vengeance of crushing some books. Reality settled in at about grade 11, grade 12 when I'm looking, actually probably the end of grade 11 and then grade 12 year. I'm like, fuck, I got one last year of having a good time hanging out. And it's straight to labor, baby. This brain is not sharp enough to go and take on a sector like, oh, fuck. See, I don't even know where to begin. It's like, here, idiot, take this hammer and knock that shit apart. Carry that over there. And then do it again and again and again. Only to get yelled at because I did it wrong. That's why. I'm in the position I am in right now because I don't know. Who knows? One stupid decision led me to this path. And now I sit before you, a mere prince of pussy chasing animals that just want to have a cocktail in the weekend and shove their cock in a tail at the end of that evening. And to that I say cheers to you, gentlemen. Here's to wiserhood. But a dude came up and he just he said some pretty powerful words in this short interaction that we had, and we had a nice little conversation. But it was nice to, like, you know, I'm not going to sit here and look for praise by any means. It's not necessarily why I do this. Although it would be great. It would be greater if we garnered more of a female audience and they just wanted to send ta-ta photos, you know? And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here on a pedestal and act like I'm not a fucking pervert like the rest of us. Yes, of course. When you go sifting through the internet, you know, all I want news that's going to make me go, oh, I'm so glad that isn't happening here. Oh my God, I'm so happy that isn't happening here. And then you just want to see whole. That's all. I am just a Gentile like the rest of us. I'm a goy. I'm a fucking goyim. But yeah, no, it was good to hear, you know, somebody just come up and say, dude, this the boys out there, the fellas appreciate the pod. They like it. And I like that it's, if I'm being honest, I like that it's not huge, but it's like just big enough, you know? It's just big enough in my mind because it's like a cool audience. It's once you get like bigger and bigger, you start attracting more and more idiots that, I don't know. This is like the building block stages. And then like, these are your ride or dies that are with you. You know, we had a good little explosion at the beginning and then things tapered off, you know, life changes. I don't necessarily want to be fucking going to, I don't know, bars and throwing parties. I mean, I get it. Oh, you just sit there and promote and fucking going to the strip club. Yeah, but that's post-show. It's kind of like a little after party. We did it last time we were up there, and then there was a deal to do it again. So it's not like every weekend we're getting blasted. You know, we take the show serious, but it is nice to unwind every now and then and go and kick your feet up and have a drink and watch a little ballerina go up there and twirl. Midnight ballerinas, baby. Love heading to the Tina's for a little shimmy shake. It's good for everybody. It's good fun for the whole family, you know? It's nice. But yeah, I want to say thanks to that guy for just reminding me like how great it is to be privileged enough to give the boys out there grinding, working their buns off, you know? Because winter's around the corner, you're out there, it's grueling, the weather fucking is against you, you know, maybe the job itself is against you, you got idiots that you got to work with, opinionated morons, drunks, alcoholics, drug addicts, fentanyl addicts, you name it, scaffolders, you know, you get those, pipe fitters, always a fun batch of fellas to be around. They're an after five crowd, those guys. Welders, you got the welders out there that you know what? They just make you feel smarter than everybody else on the planet. it's a true blessing of this little community that we got here. All the guys, it's flannel season, boys. Let's be honest. It's getting chilly out there. You gotta endure some elements. It's coming, So to all the boys that tune in every week, all the fellas out there in the field, all the ladies out there in the field that tune in, I just want to say thank you for giving me the privilege to allow you to laugh while you're at work. Because you know what? Sometimes a job fucking sucks. Sometimes you're on a job and you just, you think to yourself, maybe enlisting and going in that war over in Gaza or Russia or wherever's at war right now, maybe I can just go over there and get pierced in the ear by a fucking sniper round. That wouldn't be too bad. I can die with some dignity for the country that just wants me in the fucking ground. They just pay taxes, pay taxes, pay taxes. Shit like that. It's insane. But you guys appreciate it. There are some people that don't. And we're going to talk about those people right now. This war has got us very conflicted. We're at one another. We're yelling. We're screaming in the streets. The only form of entertainment that we have left is to go out in the streets and scream and yell at one another. I've been over this. You know it. I know it. Everywhere you look on social media, people are screaming, shouting, yelling. Fucking Christ almighty. It hasn't been quiet here for 4 goddamn years. We're closing in on 4 goddamn years. There hasn't been an ounce of silence of everybody shutting the fuck up and just, let's enjoy ourselves. Let's have a party. Can't do that. We're screaming and yelling in the streets about a fucking virus that came from bat soup. Remember that? Now we're screaming and yelling about a fucking war. We're putting stickers on our car like that's doing something, right? Put a sticker on the car. I put a sticker on my Hyundai. Why isn't Hamas knocking it off? But now it's come out that the draft, you might get drafted, You might get drafted. And some people, some Gen Zers aren't so happy about it. They're a little upset. They're fucking stomping their feet. What do you mean I gotta do something? What do you mean? Right? And it sucks. Trust me. You think, you know what? It's not really comparable to World War II because World War II patriotism was at its all-time high, right? Especially Canada, the United States. So when the war was ramping up and they're like, listen, you want communism and all that fascism over here? I suggest you go and fucking put some shells in some goddamn Nazis. Some of them Nazis. Get over there. And it was like a noble act to like pick up arms and go to war. It was respected. Women thought, oh my God, my little soldier, You went over there, you fought your ass off, you gave freedom for us over here. And what have we done to maintain that freedom? Not much, if I'm being honest. Really think about it. We've allowed governments and corporations to dictate the pace of our life, what we can have, how much the currency's worth. It's not that great. Looking back, our forefathers, our grandfathers should have just, maybe not picked up the gun. We probably would be a little better off having a painter run the world, That's the thing about art teachers. They know how to run a world. They know how to run a country. Anybody who is involved in some sort of art really knows how to run a country. You had Hitler painting, you got Big Trudy acting, and look it, we're thriving.
Come on, man.
I know. I'll knock it off. But anyways, Gen Z, not too happy that there could be a draft coming. And this young guy took to the internet and he wanted He wanted to get some things off his chest. He wanted to speak his mind like we do around here. So we're going to give him the floor for a second here. See what he has to say.
Not. And you know why I know that? Because we're just going to say no. Like, how are they going to actually force us to get up and go to war? I understand.
How are they going to? You'd be surprised. Because there's this little thing called the opposing side. And if they breach and enter your country, there's really, and there's some parts of the U.S. it's like you don't go there because it's at war. You're not going into Chirac and going and checking out all the local shops. No. So before you get too ahead of yourself, I imagine that somewhere in your city there is a place where gunshots ring out continuously throughout the night. So you're pretty close to a war zone, but how are they going to force you to pick up? They're not. I mean, you only really got two options: your will to live or die. If you don't want to pick up a gun, well, guess what? The enemy is just happier than pigs in shit because this war just got easier to fight.
And it was like that in like the 1940s. What else is there to do?
You know what annoys me about this generation is instead of just like doing one thing, doing one thing at a time, you come on here, you want to make a video, and they're like, I don't understand people's need to eat while they're recording, as if it's like a cool act to do as I'm eating caramel and apples. What are you fucking for? Eat the apple. Eat the apple. You don't need to pump all that sugar into you, dipshit. Sitting here eating, trying to make a point. Nobody's made a point eating. Last week, we had that jackass Pierre Poilievre sitting in an orchard, chomping away at an apple, thinking he's fucking, I got this guy, I got him on the ropes here. And it's like, can you fucking not? What is it with you idiots in eating? Next episode, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to order a whole spread, a smorgasbord of fucking Chinese food, and I'm going to sit here and smack my lips together, eating, just talking about like all the things I could have done in my life for a whole hour. Chinese food. When I was fucking 13, I thought to myself, if there's ever a draft, good luck getting me to go. This fucking asshole.
In 1940, besides shoot people. But yeah.
What is his big point there before taking a hunk out of that?
In like the 1940s.
1940.
What else is there to do in 1940 besides shoot people? We have things to do nowadays. We have twerk, be bisexual, eat hot chip, lie. And we're also like really mentally ill.
Not really building a case for you. We have to twerk. We have to be bisexual. All reasons why you should go to war. All reasons, to put the perspective of life and its meaning. Maybe having a M16 round whiz past your ear, you'd be like, boy, I should have appreciated this much more. And the fuck do you mean? What else was there to do in 1940 other than shoot people? Well, first off, the women were in the factories pressing the shells. So, what do you mean? What else? What do you think, the bullets just fall out of the sky? No, we had to put women in factories pressing the bullets, shipping it over the guys so that way they could shoot one another, you pretentious prick. What an asshole. What a complete asshole. The audacity to sit there and munch an apple with caramel on it. I don't know how you guys say it. Caramel? Who cares? The audacity to sit there and shovel a kid's snack into your face while trying to make a point of like, what else was there even to do back in 1940 other than shoot one another? Listen to his list of things.
Twerk, be bisexual, eat hot chip, lie.
A bly? What? What is it? What does he say there?
Lie. And we're chip, lie. And we're also like really mentally ill. I have like 6 of these. What makes you think I'm qualified to have a gun? Like within 600 feet of anybody, including myself.
See, this is where you got the young kids get off the internet. Because when you say something like that, you want to know what I think if I'm a general, if I'm at the helm, I'm at the big oak desk making calling the shots of the Canadian military, the U.S. military, and they go, and this young guy goes, I shouldn't be within 600 feet of a gun. I'm mentally ill. My eyes perk up. Oh, we got ourselves a soldier here. Put him on the list. You're not building a case, okay? You're not building the case. We've seen the videos of Columbine and those little losers that go and walk into a school and just shoot unarmed people. Now let's take these guys right here and put them in a real combat situation and see how they fucking do. I think it's about time. We've gave enough wiggle room to school shooters for quite some time. And if you're thinking about doing it, hold off, okay? Hold off. There's a war happening right now. You have an opportunity to actually have somebody that's going to fight back. You don't want to shoot some sitting ducks. Why do you want to do that? That's boring. There's no thrill in that. It's a waste of your time. Guess what? You can go over and just lay waste to whoever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want to do it. You know what? At this point, no one cares. There's 2 wars you can join. You can join the Ukraine-Russia one. In fact, you get this, you little gamer fucking queers. You can spawn wherever the hell you want. You want to go to Jerusalem? You want to see where, you're not very religious? Or do you want to endure the cold winter of Russia? Do you want to go over to Ukraine and take on a winter little COD map, if you will? We'll send you over. You get a pick. Do you want a nice beaches? Do you want sand? Warm weather? Or do you want to go out and, see snowflakes and build little snowmen and have yourself a little ground war against the Russians? Or do you want to fight Hamas? You get to pick your enemy. Oh my God, it's like a real life video game. And to shake pills in front of somebody and be like, I'm mentally ill and should not have a gun. If anything, that's you're shot up to the top of the list. They're like, okay, if we put an M16 and tell them that Hamas just misgendered a tranny and told them to get the fuck out and you cannot use that bathroom, these kids might go AWOL. They might go bananas over there. They might win that war within a week. We don't know. We got to test it. This is the testing grounds, We've tested a lot of things in the past 4 years, whether it be fucking chemical injections or what the human mind and psyche is like under lockdown. All sorts of things. We've really got a lot of studies done on the human beings. Now let's see if the mentally deranged Gen Z kids can withstand a war. Pill them up, Pill them up, give them apples and caramel sauce. Send them over. What else does this moron have to say? We're going to just go back that statement right there.
I think I'm qualified to have a gun, like within 600 feet of anybody, including myself. And finally, like, guns are like so tacky. Like, can you imagine just like pulling up with a gun? Like, that is so fucking embarrassing.
Embarrassing. Like, could you imagine just like pulling up? Like, when you hear them talk, you wish a gun was present. You wish a gun was present and around and you wish that there was an active shooter, Could you imagine it's like guns are like tacky. Tacky isn't like tactical? What do you mean tacky? What are we talking here? What the fuck are you trying to say? Like, imagine pulling up with a gun. That's like embarrassing. Opposed to what? What do you mean? You know, we're going to cover it later. You know, pulling up with a gun and losing a rock fight. Now that's embarrassing, which we're going to cover later. I seen a video that had me in stitches. I was laughing so fucking hard. But this right here is the exact reason. Look at the look on this person's face. If you put a gun in their hands and just said, you know what Hamas did the other day? You want to know what Hamas did? They had a protest outside of their local library, aka mosque, saying that drag queens aren't allowed to read to the kids. All of a sudden, that gun looks pretty, chic. It looks fabulous in your hand, doesn't it? You want to go out in the streets and cause a social uproar. You want to make change in the Middle East.
Like, what is this? The Revolutionary fucking War? No. Like,
the Revolutionary War. Like, what is this? The Revolutionary War? In a sense, I guess. I don't know. Nobody knows what's going on. That's the thing. Nobody understands what's going on. Every day. The regular phone. I am embedded into the internet now because of, first off, trying to find things to talk about on this show. I'm constantly scanning. If I got some downtime, I'm always checking out Twitter, news sites. What's going on? Hey, Fox News, run a headline for me. What is happening in the world? What can I talk about? Keep me updated. And it's like impossible to keep up with everything at one time. It is relatively hard. So I don't blame the regular day folk that don't give a shit about the news. I've thought about this. Oh God, I'm sorry for burping in your ear like that. I apologize tremendously. But I was thinking about this the other day, and one thing that kind of sticks out to me is my decline in the decline of interest that I've had in sports lately. I just don't find myself sitting down and watching sports like I used to. And why, I don't know. I just find what's happening in the world more fascinating than the world of sport. You sit down and watch a good UFC event every now and then if I got the time or a Saturday off. But the world just produces some of the craziest shit I didn't think I would ever see in my lifetime. And it's crazy to say that because since, I believe since I was about 9 or 10 years old, we have been at war. North America, there's been war footage everywhere. You learn about wars in school, and then you'd flip on the TV, and there was the 9/11 was happening, and you got the war in Iraq, and then it was war in Afghanistan, war in Syria, the war on terror, and now the war on terror is back. It's rebranded. All in Israel. And now we got mentally deranged Gen Z kids that are pilled up to the gills. They're like, no, we ain't doing it. We ain't fighting. So where the decline is happening over here. Morale has never been lower. Patriotism doesn't exist. The kids could give a shit. They thought all of this was just handed down, and we're watching the collapse of an empire. That's what we're watching, okay? And when I say the empire, I'm talking of like the United States of America, because it certainly is not Canada withholding world peace by any means. We are not the country. We're not the diplomats rolling around the fucking world ensuring that, hey, we're going to collapse that government to make sure that, hey, we're safe over here. We don't need George Bush putting 2 more planes into some towers, We don't need that moron and his little Israeli friends coming up with a little plan here. All right. Calm down. But that's the joy. Who gives a shit? It's all collapsing before our eyes. And while we have our head in the sand, we got these little snacks. We got, apples with caramel on them. You can enjoy the last few things that really, truly mask it. They mask it. They put a smile on your face. Whether it's unprotected sex with strange women, drinking until you're incoherent and thrown on your face out of your local tavern. You got to enjoy these little things right now because this is what we're depending on. They're not looking at me and being like, listen, time to pick up a gun at the ripe age of 33. Would they do it? Of course they would. But this is who's defending us. When I'm an old man and these people have had kids, and I'm scratching my head, thinking to myself, we really made some mistakes, but hey, here we are. A collapse. A giant economic collapse. The world has never been greater. Here's to my pension. Here's to stand-up comedy, ladies and gentlemen. Here is me cheersing you to whatever occupation that you decided to get involved with fresh out of high school. Here's to that. Here's to the decline. Enjoy it while you can. Have a drink, next time the old lady is giving it to you about fucking, you're drinking again? And it's like, yeah, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? I don't see it getting better out there. I'm going to have another cocktail. I'm going to have another drink. In fact, I might have 7. Well, we got to go to my mom's house for dinner. And guess what? I'm going to be drinking there too. And I'm going to let everybody know that I found out that you were cheating on me with my best friend at that dinner. And I'm going to destroy this family faster than you can say Rasputin, you silly bitch. And that's the seventh day God created drama. Mazel tov. All right, we'll wrap.
Let's just chat.
Let's just chat.
It's the revolutionary fucking word now. Let's just chat. Let's just talk. There's no need for all the no.
Yeah. I wish, there's just things that come out and I knew I wasn't the brightest human being in my teenage years, but I relatively kept to myself and just attempt to make my friends laugh. I wasn't trying to, the internet was still in its early stages. We weren't really involved in it like the way we are today. You'd hop on Facebook on your fucking, you had to use a PC to hit the internet, or if you had a laptop, you could check your Facebook or fucking whatever dumb site, social media wasn't as rampant as it is today. So we weren't capable of putting our thoughts out. We weren't really that involved either in politics like this younger generation is today. They allow the headlines of newspapers to seep into their life when in reality, when you got an attitude like this, it's you should just stay out and go to whatever gay raves that you planned on going to that weekend anyways, and just let anybody who truly gives a shit try and figure, let's just chat. Yeah. It's what do you mean? Like the fucking panel of The View having a chat? What are we talking about here? What are we doing? Are we just going to slap 5 gays around a fucking news anchor desk and then that's going to solve it? Is that what we're going to do? We're just going to put 5 twinks around a goddamn desk and next thing you know, world peace is like just on the horizon? As I stare off into the horizon and I see the rainbow flag waving in the wind, I have 5 twinks that are coming together to really solve the issues that are taking place on the Gaza Strip. And thankfully they did so. Or else I would be enlisted. And I would be picking up the... I would be picking up arms and heading over there to take on Hamas. Let's just chat.
No.
Yeah, that is great, isn't it? That's what's going to defend us. God, I cannot wait. So if you see me in the future and I'm waving a Hamas flag and I'm like, fellas, over here, Taliban. I've been fucking rooting for you guys for quite some time. You know, I'm a big underdog guy. Pleasure to meet you, whoever the fuck you are. Ahmed Al-Akbar or whatever the hell you want to call yourself. I don't give a shit. It's an honor to meet you. Brother in arms. I tell you what, I got decent editing skills. What do you say we make a couple sketches together? What do you say you and I get together, we make a few sketches, you know? And this is what we're dealing with the war over there. This kills me. I'll do commentary on it for those that are listening. But this is some grand stuff. All right. So what we got here, I'm going to describe this as best as I can. We have a gentleman who's laying on the hood of what looks to be maybe a Toyota van. And then there are IDF soldiers in the foreground wielding weapons. And I'm missing one part here. The guy laying on the hood, all he has is a lot of rocks laying on the cowl where the windshield wipers are. There's just a lot of rocks there. And this gentleman is throwing these rocks at the soldiers. And they are retreating. These guys have guns. They're shooting their guns. They're losing. It's 3 versus 3. What it looks like. Oh, never mind. We got a 4 versus 3 on the rock throwing side. They are throwing rocks at Israeli soldiers right now, and they are retreating. I don't even know what to say to that. You know what I mean? After hearing that little Gen Z kid fucking talking about that, like the IDF is a funny little organization, because I don't know if you know this, but out in Israel, that you have to serve in the IDF. You have to serve for their military as an Israeli. And this is what you end up with. That's what you end up. That's us. That's our military in the next 5 years. Is some fucking Hamas soldier throwing rocks at these soldiers, and them retreating because they're panicking. We've never been in a rock fight before. You know? Being from small town Alberta, I imagine a lot of small towns are like this, but like as the town was developing, you know how you would get in piles of dirt and then you get the dirt clumps? We'd all get together and we'd have dirt clump wars. So that's what we did as kids. So before you laugh, very effective. You throw a rock in my hand. You know what? Give it a day or two, and there is going to be a Jewish sports agent at CAA or whatever big agency looking at this and being like, that guy's got a decent arm. We should get him a fucking PTO with the fucking Padres. What do we got to do to get him to come out to Los Angeles and have a tryout with the Angels? Guy's got a decent arm on him. We got a cannon, you know? We'll help the world out. 4 of them just hucking rocks at 3 soldiers and put them back. This is what we're dealing with. So when you see this come out of that war, you just shake your head and you wonder, like, what the fuck is going on out there? What is happening? And it makes more sense why you would want the Americans involved, you know? Because there's a lot of goofy shit that's coming out. Yeah, I imagine a lot of you have maybe seen like the videos of the female soldiers with the IDF making like TikToks. And the Ukraine was doing like the same thing. It's like, that's how you can like garner support from mouth breathers like myself, is just having hot women promoting your military like that. And you're like, oh, look at all this hot pussy on the IDF. I must pick their side. Because clearly in Hamas, they got their women wrapped up like a fucking mummy. Can't even get a good glimpse. Meanwhile, this thing's got some tight fitting clothes. That'll fucking garner support for our bill. And then I see this, you know, and like I said earlier, you know, my decline in my active viewing of sport, right? Sporting events, sporting leagues has went down. But then you throw like a high stakes dodgeball game like this, where one guy's got a gun and the other guy's just got fucking 25 rocks on the hood of a goddamn Toyota Sienna. Now I'm invested. Now I'm looking at this like, holy shit. The balls on this guy. The fucking balls on this guy to sit here and throw rock. The confidence you would have after that, after beating and causing somebody to retreat who has a fucking submachine gun in their hand, who could just unload like a rock. It does enough damage, but like, let's be honest here. When you can just unload, or anybody with half a brain would just sit there and like get some decent cover. I can't imagine he's that accurate with his throws, right? Just around the corner. But no, we're going to get up nice and tight where those rocks can really pelt me. Jesus Christ, you scratch your head and then you're like, oh, fuck, I wonder how those Gen Zs would do in this war. This is it right here. This is them screaming, running back because somebody threw a rock at them. Blows my mind. Makes no fucking sense to me whatsoever. I cannot, but there are positives to this war that's happening, okay? There are positives. Some of the things that are happening right now is like in North America is you got to pick a side, right? Everybody's going through that. We went over that last episode. You got to go through that process of like choosing a side. What side are you on? What side are you on? You have to pick. And it better be the right one. And nobody's guiding you. Last year, we were like, free Palestine, right? We were out in the streets and be like, Israel is like, fucking Israel. Now it's like a pro-Israel stance because the military-industrial complex is getting behind it. The media is pushing it. They want to go back to war. We got to prop up the economy some way, shape, or form. There's a lot of benefits to war for North America. So now the fucking big media machine, the mainstream media, is getting behind it. They're trying to garner the public support, where meanwhile, like, you know, people our age have been like around this for so long that we're like, ugh, fuck, you know? The boomers... See, the boomers, they came from an era where their parents like were deeply involved with World War II and the evils of like fascism and Nazism and forcing the Jews to all over the country and the extermination of them and all that happened back then is like still in their head, where we have been around for a much different version of Jews, you know? So it's like we're seeing Israel and all the evil that they've done to people that are basically in these are in these open air prisons in the Gaza Strip and West Bank. You know, we see all that. We hear about it. It's reported on. It's talked about. It's in the media. So we have a different opinion on Israel than your boomer. And you're seeing it in the polls. It's like, they got to go over there and flatten Hamas. They got to go over there and flatten Hamas. That's what they got to do, say. And the younger generation is like, hey, fucking knock it off. You're going to push everybody into nuclear war. We kind of like living. We kind of enjoy it. We don't like the shit that you old bastards have like created for us to fucking live in. You know, this is a wonderful thing that you've done for us. We are so excited to never own a house, you know, to live like paycheck to paycheck, basically in poverty. If I miss one day of work, I got to scratch my head and figure out what bill am I going to miss, because you guys have completely tore this country apart, you know? So you got these old bastards that are sitting around and be like, yeah, they got to bomb them. They got to bomb the hell out of them. Because the mainstream media has come together, and you can tell when something is like a little off. When you watch, if you turn on Fox News and you turn on CNN and they both have the same messaging, that's when you got to scratch your head and be like, what the hell is going on here? You know, when the same headline is running throughout those two organizations and it's like clear message across all mainstream media outlets, that's when you have to start asking questions like, what's really going on here? You know? And I think with the internet, this younger generation that's coming up, and even us like millennials and Gen Xers, you know, and all the way down to like Gen Z, are seeing it for what it is, because we have alternate news sources and we have these people, especially, you know, when you get into independent journalism and these people are ridiculed and they've been drugged through the mud through mainstream media outlets, they become more believable, because when you strip a man or woman of everything that they have, you know, you're booting them off social media sites. They want to censor this person. Then you start to question, like, what is this person saying? You know, what is their research? What are they talking about that they don't want this out there? They don't want anybody talking about it, because there's clear messaging behind what takes place with the programming on these bigger news outlets like Fox, CNN, MSNBC, because they all have clearly the same message. We got to arm up. We got to go over to Israel. We got to give them $100 billion. We got to do all these things. We got to prop up. We got to go back to war. We can fight 2 wars at one time, which if history has told us one thing, you know, if history has told us one thing about a uprising power, maybe around the 40s, like that young guy was talking about, maybe around that era, is once you start adding more like a fucking 5-6 fronts, you're trying to conquer some serious ground here. Doesn't really work out, does it? Next thing you're in a bunker high on methamphetamine with a fucking Ruger in your mouth. So the history books say. But anyways, but with all of this happening, right, you got to pick a side. You know, World War III is on its rise. We all got to pick a side. Who are you fighting for? Who are you on? And if you don't pick the right side, you get the boot, right? And I think we've all known that if you go with a pro-Palestine stance now, you lose your job. You know, all these university kids that went out and they're fucking, hey, gas the Jews, whatever they were screaming out on campus. Whatever they were yelling about, you know, all these intellectuals gathering together in courtyards with their signs, right? And all of a sudden they're monitored, they're profiled, and now they can't get jobs on Wall Street anymore because they were out fucking, "Curse the Jews again!" They're yelling that out in the streets. So now we know, like, if you go this way, good possibility you could lose your job, right? Which happened to a caucus member with the Ontario NDP. Let's take a listen.
Candidate Sarah Jama will be sitting as an independent in the Ontario legislature moving forward. The Hamilton Centre MPP was removed from the NDP caucus just moments before a vote was set to take place that would see her being censured for her stance on the Israel and Palestine conflict. Premier Doug Ford and the Ontario PC party leading that motion and saw them voting in favor of censuring Jama, and the vote carried 63 to 23 as the Ontario Liberals abstained. Jama will not be recognized by the Speaker moving forward until she makes a formal apology and deletes her social media posts. Reporting from political outlet The Trillium indicates that the NDP had approved a speech for Jama prior to her censure vote, but she ended up changing some of the words, which is part of the decision to remove her from caucus. Sources inside the party say the NDP booting Sarah Jama has caused serious concerns amongst its ranks.
See, this is great because we're watching the government eat itself. You know, the NDP, the New Democratic Party out here in Canada, for the American listeners, are basically like, how do you do? They're deranged socialists is basically what they are. They're insane. One of their little rallies that they had, they for the questioning period, they were giving wristbands or a yellow card or some shit like that to individuals that are considered minorities. If you were gay, if like, and that person got to speak. They literally organized from who is more oppressed to who isn't, and white straight males being last on that list. Who got to ask a question first or speak first? It's insane. This party is like absolutely insane. They're the leader of them, Jagmeet Singh, Jagmeet, is out there yelling and screaming at Loblaws and all these grocery chains about lower the prices, this is under control, and trying to be a total socialist for the people. But meanwhile, he's driving around town in like a fucking BMW M3 with like a $9,000 watch on his wrist and dressing his kid in Canada Goose fucking jackets, you know? A true socialist, if I'm being honest, thinks everything needs to be equal except for him. Except for him. He needs to, you know, all these special gifts that are given it to him, he's going to use them. And then there was like another, what the hell? He took a photo of like his new child's room, and then people like, these idiots forget that we are smart. That we do, some people do have time and they sift through everything in your photo. They will look at what these items are, and then they find out he had like a $9,000 rocking chair for his kid. Well, it was a gift, you know. Yes, but in politics, image is everything. And when you're trying to be amongst the common folk, you know, the working class, as you say that you represent, and you're flexing a fucking $9,000 rocking chair. Name somebody who has a $9,000 rocking chair that's a mechanic, you know? Oh, I forgot the person stocking groceries who you're fighting ever so hard for has a $10,000 wristwatch, driving around town in a Canada Goose jacket, you know, wearing Armani suits. I totally forgot that.
Especially racialized and younger members. Some staffers say they were upset by the party's handling of the issue and have considered quitting, while members of riding associations and volunteers have left, with some of them also relaying that they won't be helping the party moving forward. The constant sentiment from sources is that this could have been handled.
It is fun. Like, this war right now is causing a total destruction of Canadian politics because we cannot figure out, you know, we there just can't be a normal stance on it. You know, there just cannot be a normal stance at all. You have to pick a side, and that's where this comes in your favor. You know, like the wealthy always say, never let a good tragedy go to waste, right? You've probably heard this before. We're repeating it to refresh our memory because this can be used to your advantage as well. Are there people inside of your work that you despise, that you cannot stand? Do they drive you nuts? Do they irritate you? Very simple. We live in an age of technology where, AI can help create things. And all you got to do is take your coworker's profile or Twitter account or Facebook account, make a wild statement on how that they support Palestine in this war, take a pro-Palestine stance on a status, and just screenshot it, send it to your employer and be like, look at this animal. Why would he say something like that? Only to have this person removed from your work. It's genius. This is where we got to take advantage of this ourselves. See, the government is doing it. We, as well as human beings, the working class, have to as well. And you can do it against, I know this sounds like very Stalin era Russia here, where we're kind of shooting one another in the street. Hey, this guy doesn't support the fucking regime. And then they're drug out. Instead of getting a bullet put in their head, we just strap them financially. See, it's a very dog-eat-dog world. It's Lord of Flies out there. And you got to take advantage of it when you can. And especially if you're not emotionally invested in this war that's taking place in Israel and fucking the Gaza Strip and the West Bank and all that whole area. If you're not emotionally invested in it, who cares? You can take this and use it for your own personal gain, like everybody else is doing. Like any of these guys, any of these politicians truly, really give a shit. This is just to posture up and see like, hey, look how great of a human being I am. And sometimes it bites you in the ass like it did this woman right here. Now she gets kicked out of the NDP party. She has to run as an independent. And it really puts a little ripple in the system. And when you see that, you got to think quick enough on your feet that, I can use this to my own advantage. It's genius. I'm here all week. Every week, Thursday, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I come here, I sit down, I piece all of this together. I try and make your lives easier by giving you a laugh and even a little bit of advice of removing some people that truly annoy you from your workplace. I know what this podcast is for. It's for the working class, I'm not over here. Look what I'm flexing. I'm sitting in a goddamn chair in sweatpants right now with a fucking shit-ass TUE trying to show you clips on the fucking internet. Do you think I'm killing it? Do you think I'm ahead of the game? If I had a $9,000 rocking chair, you're goddamn right it would be in the fucking shot, If I had a $10,000 wristwatch, I would be in here. That's all the episode would be, is me putting it in the camera and be like, look at how great I am. Thank you for your money. Thanks for coming to shows. Thank you for supporting my career. Now look at me. Look how great I am. Like every other comic from Los Angeles, That's what I got to do. I got to get to a level of that where I flex my money on all the people that have supported me through the ranks. And by wearing expensive clothing and showing everybody like, hey, look at this. Look at how great I am. Thank you for your money. I'm so glad that you every week pay for the Patreon. Is it supporting my career? Half-assedly, it is. But I'm trying to get into the 2024 Tesla. That's what I'm trying to do. So if you could donate to no, fuck that. Shit's gay. I think it's funnier to go the opposite way. If you make more money, you regress in your fashion, in your everyday items. I think that's hilarious. If you were to catch me, say I was a millionaire and you caught me and I'm in a fucking 86 Plymouth and the wheels are they're fucking, you're like, Jesus, are you going to put new tires on that? And be like, in this economy? You're like, hack, what the fuck? You just sold out Rogers Arena. What the hell are you doing here? Why are you fucking... What is this? What the hell is this? And usually when you're... if you're there, you got security. My security is just like that Gen Z kid eating apples and be like, well, let's just talk about it. Can we just talk about it? And I sick that on you. That'd be my security team. It's just a bunch of Gen Zs that are anti-war that want to talk to you about fucking how environmentalism is really going to save the planet. My one buddy got duped by that fucking Greta Thunberg video where it was like AI, and they're like, we need like environmentally friendly missiles. And I was like, it says AI in the corner, you dumbass. And he goes, I know, I seen it after. I was like, see, this is how they get you. This is how these assholes get you.
Better, and that losing someone like Sarah Jama, one of the most progressive voices in the party, really hurts the NDP. Here's party leader Mart Stiles on the decision.
We are a team.
Oh, yeah.
She has done a number of unilateral things that have undermined our team.
Oh.
Our caucus and our staff team worked very, very hard and in good faith with MPP Jama so we could find a way forward. But
Yeah, they just used like Chat GPT to come up with a speech for her. Be like, yeah, Chat GPT, can you write something that says I'm sorry for saying that, hey, hey, I'm sorry for saying that I love watching Jew blood hit the streets of the Gaza Strip, and I hope that a ground war happens so that way we can have a standing chance on fighting these fucking losers. How do I say sorry once I've tweeted that as a sitting politician in the Canadian Parliament? How do I get away and keep my job as a politician for a socialist party by saying that, you know what, these goddamn kikes are really ruining the world? How do I get away with, something like that? And these are her words, not mine, keep in mind. And I say stuff like, oh, Jesus Christ. How do I continue being a politician after tweeting something like that? And then they sat down and looked at the Chat GPT and it was like overloading. They're like, oh boy. A big, long speech. Listen, we're going to need you to go live on your Instagram and say something like this. We read it all out. We wrote this all out, and we just need you to go and make a video on your Twitter account saying that you're sorry. And she's like, suck my twat. I rearranged a few words in there, and I just want to say, Allah Akbar. And they're like, whoa. We can't put that in there.
MPP Jama has, chosen not to work with us.
Now, this is not the end in this saga. Jama has accused Premier Doug Ford of using defamatory language towards her and for accusing her of anti-Semitism. A cease and desist letter was sent to the Premier's office on Friday, but the Premier
See what I mean? That's the big issue that we have over here. Picking a side. That's the big issue. You have to pick a side, but you don't have to pick a side though. See? They're trying to make you pick a side. You don't have to. You can use who's ever picking a side against them. This is the joy of the planet. If you sit back and just see it for what it is, you can use it to your advantage, folks. You can get some people that you don't enjoy removed from your place of work, and life isn't so bad. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. I know we haven't had any hate mail lately. If you want to send a voice recording in and want to talk about some shit, you want to got some things on your chest that you need to get off, please email me, unclehack@dangercast.tv, subject line hate mail. You can write it or just use a voice note, record it, and attach it in the email, and we can use it on this show. Isn't that fun? Voice recordings on the show. If you want to send some hate mail in, we've been lacking on it a little. Everybody's a little happy out there. We're watching fucking explosions on television once again, like it's 2001 to 2020. All over again. We got a brand new war. We're invested. It's not like the Russia-Ukraine war. It's like, whatever. It's old news. The I stand with Russia. Jesus Christ. I stand with Ukraine t-shirts are on sale. They're 50% off. We got some new merch that we got to fucking throw out there. Speaking of new merch, we have some new items that are on the site, dangercatshop.com. The Spite Tour t-shirt is finally up for grabs. Thank you very much, and we will see you next week, Thursday at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.